What is up, everybody? Welcome back to TeeDogCustoms, to another video. And man, let me tell you, it is July 4th, or not July, June 4th, and the weather is just beautiful. Mid 80s today, and let me tell you, it is just, I don't know, what can I say? It's just so nice out today. It's not hot, it's not humid. Very nice in Virginia. So today we're going to be covering a pretty requested topic that I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask about. So what we're going to be doing today is comparing the diesel swap pros and cons versus maybe the stock setup. So I've had some questions about that, so I'm gonna attempt to show you guys and tell you guys. Right after I did the build, I got requests for this kind of video, but I didn't want to talk prematurely without driving it for a couple weeks, a month, and really get a honest opinion on it. Alright guys, so now we're going to hop into the part where we go over the exact pros and cons of diesel swapping a Jeep, specifically a 6BT Jeep, because the 4BT is a whole different animal together. Like, you can't even compare them when it comes to a 6BT and a 4BT. Like I said, just totally different animal. While I was out there writing my pros and cons, I had to go walk away for a second to go after my daughter, and my wife wrote these things down. So these two pros and the cons are compliments to my wife, I guess, which she is not wrong, and we'll cover both of these. So let's just start with this. The pros of a 6BT diesel swapped. This one's very simple, but it is boost. So that's very vague, but boost. So you get boost sounds, you get diesel sounds, you get turbo sounds. I mean, you get it all, and it sounds amazing. So boost is good. And then let's run over here to the cons thing that she wrote down. Things break easy. She would not be wrong in that either. If you've ever done any kind of swap, there is a period of ironing things out, modifying things, especially when there's no like book that you can say do it exactly like this. For something like this, yeah, there's things that's gonna break, and it may break quite frequently until you iron and kind of nut and bolt the whole thing out. So yeah, expect things to break. Like I had spoken in my last video, I had some drive shaft issues, and small little routing things, but typically I guess in my experience with this, it's all come back to the drive shaft issues. It's so hard because on these, the drive shaft is so short. Literally, it's like literally the drive shaft is like this long. Because I am not running a slip yoke eliminator yet, I probably will at some point, but it's just extra $500 to spend that I don't want to do right now. So yeah, so the cons, things will break. You'll have to iron things out. That's no surprise. I'm going to go ahead and write a list down here real quick, and then we will come back to this board. Alright guys, I think I got everything I want to cover in this video. Granted, there probably are a lot more different things that I'm just not thinking of at the moment, but let's just dive in and get started. The first one I wrote down, lots of horsepower / torque. The amount of horsepower in this is actually insane. This is a 24 valve Cummins with a P-pump swap, and the P-pump's pretty much turned up all the way, and the nozzles on the injectors have been swapped out to a bigger size as well. So yeah, it's definitely got some power. Probably we're at the point where it's unusable power with the axle setup that's on here. But tons of power and lots of torque. This does have what's called like kind of a granny gear. First gear is really low, and I have not, it's really low. It's great for mudding or crawling. If you're trying to go really slow, it's great. Other than that, you kind of don't ever use first gear. You can start out in second, but anyways, lots of horsepower and torque. We're going to take the next one, which I have as very reliable. I want to I almost didn't put that one on there. I know it kind of seems kind of like an oxymoron with things break easy, but as far as the engine goes, it's very reliable. So you've got the P-pump, which is all mechanical. So engine wise, it's probably one of the more reliable engines swaps you could do. There just aren't a lot of electronics to short out or go bad or wiring issues. It's literally what you see is what you get with the swap I did. It sounds amazing. You can't get away from a Cummins sound, guys. It's amazing. The 4BTs do not sound anything like the 6BTs. I'm sorry for all you 4BT owners out there. 4BTs are cool, but they're not a 6BT, and they're not as cool as 6BT. So that's settled. That's my opinion, obviously, because I have a 6BT. But in all seriousness, 4BTs have their place, but not in any of my vehicles. So anyways, they sound amazing, and quite frankly, if you go to the next point, it's the coolest swap you can ever do. Hands down, it's the coolest swap. Turbo sounds, turbo noises, it's just diesel sounds. It's just the best you can ever do. And then the last one, everything is better with the 6BT Cummins. So yeah, that's pretty much all the pros. And on a more like serious note of pros, like I said, there are a lot more pros, I'm sure, but you really don't do a 6BT Cummins swap to be, let's see, at least in this particular setup, you don't do a 6BT Cummins swap to have some great advantage, because the truth is there isn't too many pros to it besides what I've listed off. It's all personal preference when it comes to the pros, and minus the like lots of horsepower and torque and reliability and sounds amazing, like those are really all the cons you're gonna get. It will get a lot of attention, as I have found out. Pretty much everywhere you go, someone walks up to you and talks to you, which I'm fine with. They all want to see the engine, and you know, that's all fine. But as far as real pros, it's not like a huge, like, you know, big reason, because the truth is it's just not. So it's all personal preference. I love diesels, and I love this particular setup. So let's go over to the cons list. Very heavy. There is no question that this is heavy. When you drive with the stock axles and suspension, you get a lot of movement back and forth. Eventually, when I do a 4-link system, that will be fixed. But for now, yeah, it's very heavy, moves around. So I do not have a rear sway bar in, and so that could be a lot of the reason why it moves around a lot. I don't really know, but I do know that the heaviness does not help it at all. But on this cons, and we'll even start with this one, things break easy, but I am going to swing this down to here, which is, it is a 6BT Cummins, which I have here in the circle. That equals cancel. I know that's a lot to comprehend, but pretty much because it is a 6BT Cummins, it does cancel out this con, which right there, put a line through it. That one is canceled out. And on this very heavy one as well, we're going to go down to here, run that one through this equation here. That equals cancel, and this one's canceled out. And we're gonna hop down to our third one, lots of money. These swaps are not cheap. I was very fortunate, had my cousin and a few other people, mainly my cousin, but a few other people chip in time, which really saved me a lot, just helping me. So I want to give shout outs to everyone. We've got Josh and my cousin Matt. Those are the two main ones that helped me when I needed help. So very, very much grateful for that. But lots of money if you don't have any source for parts. So I do have a video already on that, I believe. Anyways, lots of money. There's just so much that you have to account for. If you're doing it yourself, you will save a huge chunk of money. But if you are having a shop do this, they will charge quite a bit for this kind of extensive swap. So lots of money. However, I am going to run this one also through the same equation, which equals cancel, and lots of money will be canceled out. And we've got another one, hard on your axles. It is very hard, especially if you have the stock diff in the rear. You probably will shatter that thing very quickly. This one had a locker already in it when I purchased the Jeep. So pretty much what a locker does is it locks the rear axle, and you know, both wheels are locked together instead of, you don't have these little ring geary things in the diff. So this is a solid axle. That's why I think it's lasted as long as it has. So, this kind of horsepower, I'm guessing we're somewhere within the 350 horsepower to 400, somewhere in there. I could be way off. It could be more on the 300 to 350. I haven't dynoed it, so I don't know. But with that kind of power, it's going to be hard on axles, and not only axles, but just everything, suspension, you know, your frame if you haven't shored it up a lot. And though hard on axles, we're going to run this one, you know the deal, through this special equation, and we're going to cancel that one out. And that brings us to the last one that I could really think of, which is a lot of time. As a new father of like a year and a half, coming up on a year and a half, I have a daughter, and fortunately I just finished this engine swap up right after, or actually right before she was walking. So but now she is walking around and keeping us busy and stuff, and that's probably the biggest thing, is lots of time with a wife and a daughter, and you know, it does take a lot of time, and your wife or whoever you're with, it's going to take time away from them, whether it's just family. If you're all alone, then that's fine, but it does take lots of time. However, we are going to strike that one as well, because it's a 6BT Cummins, and you know the deal, that cancels out any cons. So at this point in the video, you may be realizing this is a very biased opinion, and you would be correct. I did a 6BT Cummins swap because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I like, and that's what I wanted to spend my time doing. And so at this point, I also did it for the YouTube channel to get some views and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, this is what I wanted. I've always wanted a Cummins swapped Jeep, and so everything just kind of aligned. But you do have a cons list that you've got to seriously look at, and your cons may not be my cons. I'm just going to put that out there. Those were pretty much all the cons for me as why I wouldn't do something when it comes to this. Anyways, you have to weigh that seriously and figure out, and then look at the pros. Like I said, if you look at the pros list, there's not a huge, there's nothing hugely that would compel someone to do a swap like this, unless you want lots of horsepower. But you can get lots of horsepower with other engine swaps. You can get boost with other, you know, you could have thrown a turbo on the inline 4 that came in this, or inline 6, sorry, that came in this. You could have, you know, got boost and stuff like that. But it kind of comes down to this: the coolest swap you can ever do, and in my mind, a 6BT Cummins is one of the coolest swaps you can do, and that's just kind of where it's at. This list compelled me over the cons in this case, and yeah, I know this is probably going to be a huge controversy point for some of you guys, saying the cons aren't, there's not really too many bad things on the cons, but that's the truth in my opinion, is that there just aren't, minus these things, very heavy, and it takes lots of money, lots of time, and that's really the negatives in my eyes to a build of this degree. So that's kind of what you get, guys. So I know that was kind of biased and corny at the same time, but the truth of the matter is, you do a swap like this because that's what you personally think is cool, not because there's specific advantages to something like this, if that makes sense. But I just kind of want to show you guys everything is holding it up good. I do need to still get injector lines, I know that. I think that will probably do for this video of pros and cons of a diesel swapped Jeep, specifically the 6BT. Like I said, this is very specific to a 6BT swap because the 4BT, some of these may not apply. Definitely lots of horsepower, just doesn't apply to a 4BT without a ton of work. This thing will make way more horsepower and torque than a 4BT any day of the week, and with a lot less work. So just keep that in mind. So this Sunday coming up is Diesels and Donuts in Pennsylvania. I believe it's Lancaster, I can't remember though, but it's up there with Dirty Mac's Jack, and we're going to roll up there with the F350 and the gooseneck and trailer, the Jeep up there. It's like 3 hours away, I think, from where we live here. So we're gonna do that. I believe it's Sunday. Roll up there and have a good little morning and afternoon up there and meet them and just have a good time. So thanks for watching. As always, keep grinding. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Give it a big thumbs up. So if you haven't already, tap your screen if you're on your phone and then hit the thumbs up button, and confetti and stuff will shoot up. It's pretty cool. So don't forget that. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next upload. Peace.